Welcome, everybody. This is a little meeting about our trainings, especially the upcoming trainings, but of course, all the trainings in general. And to start with, I thought I'll give you a little idea and a little story how we ended up teaching slightly different to what everybody else is teaching. This is something that developed. These are our teachers, Martin Grassinger, Susan McMarion, myself. We are training right now, doing the analyst training, but there is many other courses going on. We do have more teachers, but this is, we three right now, we offer the analyst training. And we offer analyst training in a, slightly different way. That's not really true. It's just the old way. Now, let me show you a little graph. I've started my training, I met Ra in 1993, so that's quite a while ago, when he was giving an intro lecture in Vienna. And in the old days, you probably have heard, it was very quick. There was only 2 courses, and then you became an analyst very quickly. There was no type, no profile, all of these practical things developed later over the years. And then one year when we met, when we had our annual meeting in Ibiza, Ra came up with this kind of education. So the original human design education, the original analyst training consisted of the Living Your Design course, ABC and Rave cartography. That's basically, an overview about all the general content of human design. So we call this the foundation training, the basic training. This is not the training to become an analyst, never was. I mean, that's something that seems to be misunderstood quite dramatically. This does not train you to be an analyst. This does definitely not train you to become a teacher or a guide. So, the Living Design Guide, that's another thing that we don't agree. Anyway, so we have the basic training, that's the same in all the human design schools internationally. And this 4 levels, the 4 levels of analyst training, this is the original human design education that Ra presented. It must have been 2003 or 2000, something like this. I'm not quite sure about the year, but it's a long while ago. And these 4 levels took around approximately 15 full days of training. ATL 1 used to be and still is the gates. 2 and 3 is partnership cycles and crosses. You can do the crosses before or the partnership before. That's really how you prefer to do it. And level 4 is rave reading, is all the technical details, what belongs into a reading, all the sort of the structuring and the content of a reading. So if you finish these 7 levels, the 3 foundation levels and the 4 analyst levels, then you can take the exam, then you can be tested and licensed and become an analyst. And in this original training, analyst was licensed to do readings, basic readings, foundation readings. All the special readings, the crosses, the partnership, the cycles, and all the various detail readings that are around, they require practice and experience, and this is something that you could do later. Now, when Ra presented this, we, in the German-speaking human design world, we already had quite a number of analysts and teachers around. So for us, it was no big deal to implement this fairly right away. Just a couple of months later, we had this new education up and running. And it went really well. We have been turning out very good analysts. So this is really what we have been doing for the last, it's close to 20 years. So it's, really, we do have a lot of experience in this. A few years after this, again at one of the IBISA meetings, Ra came up with this new kind of education. It was the same 4 levels, but they were much, 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 much more detailed. So these 4 levels, again, we have the same basic start with the foundation courses, but these 4 levels in the original scheme that Ra presented took about 50 days. So it was a huge education, very, very long, of course, appropriately expensive. So that was a huge thing. Now, there's nothing wrong with being well trained. There's nothing wrong with getting all the details, but there is a big but in my opinion, especially with the level 1, with the gates. In PTL 1, you are taught, or you should be taught, that's how it was structured in the beginning, you should be taught every single gate with every single line. Now, this is a course that is incredibly intensive. It is a level that should last about a year, you know, with sort of at least 12 weekends, or, you know, it's a long, long, long course. And you can get absolutely lost and stuck in the details. Remember, you're diving into the depth of the lines long before you know about crosses, you know about partnership, you know about how to give a reading at all. So in my opinion, that's my personal opinion, it is not a good way to start with incredible depth and detail before you have an overall view on things. So what we have been doing ever since is we offer both sides, both variations of training. People who, you know, are really interested, people who know that they want to become professionals, people who have been, you know, reading and taking all sorts of courses everywhere, you know, there is people who, for who it is makes sense and for who it is correct to start with the detail level. Most of our students start with the small level, with the analyst training. They take the whole of the analyst training. They really get a good overview. They really are able to see the overall picture. They take their exam, they become an analyst, they practice, they give readings, they have a way of checking how they enjoy the work. Do they have customers? Can they make money with it? So the analysts that we turn out here in the analyst training, they are going for and they are aimed at giving foundation readings. And of course, in reality, that's the vast majority of readings that you do. Now, after some experience, after a while, after some years, ideally, of giving foundation readings, you might want to specialize, you know, in the crosses, in partnership, in cycles, in, you know, whatever. And then, of course, after your experience, after you have been an analyst for a while, you can upgrade, you become a professional, you can get more and further reading licenses to do, you know, in-depth readings. So everything that you have learned in the small education will be accounted for, so there's nothing double. So you can take your information from the analyst training, move it over to the professional training, and deepen and broaden your knowledge in the professional version. So that's our way of going about the analyst training. Now, what we're doing right now in English and online is this small education. And I mean, small education, please don't get me wrong, it's not a small thing. It is a very, very interesting, vast subject. And we are turning out analysts who are licensed to give foundation readings. Now, Martin Grassinger has just finished a little while ago ATL 1, the gates. I'm going to continue with level 2. I'm going to continue with the crosses. Again, personally, I prefer to do the crosses before a partnership because to analyze a partnership, it is very, very helpful, of course, to understand the cross. So again, this is something that is my personal preference. Susan, towards the end of this year, is going to teach partnership, and I, hopefully with the help of Martin and Susan, am going to teach level 4 then next year, in around spring of 2020. So this is what we are planning right now, and this is our general way of education. So this is what is upcoming. We're starting soon, next week, September 3rd. It is 8 online lectures, 8 evenings, 8 1.5 hour sessions. And for me, I'm a big fan of the crosses. I, love them. This is my other big love next to BG5. So the crosses, what I always call them, is the headline for life. After all, crosses represent 70% of what we are, of who we are. So, when I give even a 15-minute overview, I always include the cross. It depends in what way, it depends, what kind of design I'm looking at, but, 70%, the essence of what somebody is, should be a part of every single analysis. There is no correct analysis without at least a glimpse at the cross. I don't know why, but for some strange reason, the crosses have a reputation of being, as I said here, complicated and mysterious. That's seriously and honestly not true. In this overview level of the crosses, we're not going to look at every single cross. We're going to look at them in a general way. And I will show you how basically quite simple and logical. I mean, human design is logical. How simple and logical it is, how you can grasp the meaning of a cross simply by knowing the gate, by knowing the center, by knowing the circuit, by knowing the channels. So you can really develop your understanding of the crosses and of every cross in a very general and overall way, and then you can use it and look at it and include it in every single reading that you give. Now, this is not the training to license you to give a detailed cross reading. That's a different story. You can dig a lot deeper than that, of course, but it is the level that makes sure that you can include the overview of the cross, of the essence in everybody's reading. So that's what's coming up and starting soon. Susan, then, as I said, at the end of this year, is going to teach a partnership, another, incredibly important factor of everyday life. We all have partners, husbands, wives, kids, bosses, friends. So, there's all levels, all kinds of partnerships that we are constantly being a part of. So understanding, again, basically in an overview way, how we condition each other, or what kind of impact we have onto the other and the others on us. So that's, again, something everybody should be clear, and this should be and can be part, again, in an overview fashion of any reading. So, even if you do an individual reading, the basic strategy for partnership, the basic way how you interact with others, that's something that you can and you should always include in every reading. Then next spring, I'm going to do the level 4, the keynoting, the rave reading, and again, this is pulling it all together. Ra always called this course teaching the art of human design. There's two sides. There is the sometimes quite technical, logical knowledge. The body of knowledge is huge in human design, and you really have to know a lot of structure, and you have to know a lot of information to be an analyst. But that's not enough. You have to be able to pull it together. You have to be able to use a language that is understandable. You have to be able to, present it in a way that the newcomer will get it. It's no use talking very intelligently or using all our technical language and not being understood by the client. That's really pointless. So this is something that I'm focusing on in every level, but in the last level, in level 4, I really make a point of showing and teaching and practicing how you can be clearly understood and how you can convey a reading in everyday language, how you can make sure that people with no idea about human design will really get it and understand you. And then the technical devices, the software you need, and the recording devices and all that stuff. This is also something we're going to look at in level 4. So this is the plan. This is what we plan for the future. We make a point of making this accessible to everybody. You need to have done and finished the levels before. Whoever has taken a PTL course before can take our courses at half price. So, we want to make sure that everybody has access to this information. So everybody who has already taken PTL 1 anywhere in the world can get Martin's course at half price. Anybody who has already taken the crosses somewhere in the world can participate with me in September at half price. So, we are very happy to make this available to all interested students. Yeah, that's about it from the analyst training. And my other big love in human design is BG5. So this is something that, has been and still is and will be my great love. I always remember Ra saying to me once, I am the most unesoteric person that he has ever met. And it was funny because I took this as a compliment. I am not into esoterics. I'm not into all this love and light and consciousness business. Not at all. I'm a very practical, down-to-earth person, cross of planning. I used to be an interior designer doing furniture design. So I'm, very down-to-earth. And for me, human design was such a revelation because it answered all the question about practical life. And of course, you can take it much further and you can use all the philosophical aspects, and that really makes life fun and more interesting. So, don't get me wrong, I'm not only down to earth, but human design for me is a tool, is a practical tool that makes your life easier, that makes your life better, that helps you get by in every aspect of your life. And this sort of expectation is fulfilled really best with BG5, because the BG5 knowledge is very clear and practical knowledge. It is aimed at everybody. So, BG5 is not only for business clients, it is not only for students or analysts who want to work with business clients, but it is information for everybody. I made a little list here. So there is 3 aspects of BG5. There is the individual analysis. So everybody, no matter what your design looks like, no matter what you are, everybody has a material potential. Everybody is built to support themselves, to have a material life, to have a working life, to earn money, to be materially successful in this world. Everybody, no matter if you're a reflector or a manifestor, no matter what, everybody has material potential. So in BG5, we learn to analyze this material potential. We learn to see the material talents everybody has. We can show every individual their management qualities. We can show them what the ideal working environment is for them. And we show them also the shadow, the not self, plus, and that's very, very important, plus the positive use of it. There's so much talk about the not self and the drama of what I don't have. It's not a drama, it's my design. It's correct, it's perfect. So every open center has its downfalls and its positive sides. Every defined center has its limitation and the positive side. So, there's always two sides to the coin, and the individual analysis is a large part of the BG5 knowledge and information. Then, of course, another large part is group analysis, small groups and large groups, Penta and WA, how to structure them, how to analyze a team. Very, very important if you work with companies. And, a company can be 3 people, from 3 people onwards, we're talking about the group energy. So, just 3 people starting a business together can benefit enormously from a penta analysis, and they can really thrive and do much better materially if they get this kind of information. Now, in my BG5 course, I also and always look at the OC16 basics. So BG5 originally was only about penta. OC16 used to be another huge extra course. If I remember correctly, Ra taught it once. I think it was 6 semesters, cost an enormous amount of money. And it was interesting, very interesting, but difficult to use in practical life, but that's another story. So I have included in my BG5 course the OC16 basics, because that's what you need if you work with a small company and they thrive and they expand. You have to be able to help them along, even if they end up being more than penta size, more than 5 people. So in my BG5 trainings, we always, in the last semester, look at the WA basics, at the OC16 basics as well. And then, of course, we come to the group engineering, how to build, how to structure a group, small group or large group, for the best and most and biggest material success. So that's really the themes, that's really the content of the BG5 course. This is the original content as Ra taught it. He started, I think it was 2005, and he taught it 3 times, developing and sort of evolving the knowledge as he went along. I took part in all 3 rounds of his training. I was an experienced professional and analyst and teacher by then, so I had business clients right from the beginning, and in round 2 and 3 that Ra taught this knowledge, we were already using quite a number of my business clients, so it was very interesting because I, of course, was benefiting largely from Ra's experience. My clients benefited them. We had real life examples in class. So that was a very interesting and great time. And after that, Ra asked me to take over from him, which I, of course, was very, very happy to do. And this also started really my teaching career. I wasn't so into teaching before, but when Ra asked me to teach BG5, I'm a generator, it was so clear. I had such a positive response, and I've loved it ever since. And through teaching BG5, I sort of slowly but surely started to enjoy teaching, and I've been teaching just about everything ever since. And being a 4/6, so it really it is for me. 4th lines, they definitely have some kind of talent, and I have found it and developed it and enjoy it very much. And as human design really is my life and my big love, I've been using it and teaching it for close to 20 years now. So this is really a long time. As I said, I started in 93. I became an analyst in 95, one of those fast ones then. I became a teacher in 2001, I think. I became a BG5 teacher in 2008. So, there's many, many years of experience, many, many practical applications, many clients for reading in courses, and business clients. So, I'm very happy to be able to teach the original BG5. There is no messing around like it is happening too much, from my opinion. So this is the original content, and I hope to see you sometime. I hope to lure you into taking one of these classes and courses. And if you have questions, feel free to contact me. I'm happy to answer. Okay, this was it. Thanks for listening. You can find me easily on Facebook, by email. Just give me a call, send me an email, and I'm happy to answer whatever you need to know. That's it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Good night, good day, and see you again.